case, and then the critique.
T case, okay?
Yeah.
T.
What?
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Loves you. So remember where you look up? Me too.
You're so blessed.
Thank you.
Is that what it is?
Group the interpretation debate. We literally make the interpretation because we're banned. All top ones are talking to companies over unless they can prove up in this debate. And they say that's must be a ban on war pass. That's exactly what jury prevents the House president being able to engage. And talking to companies debate before interpretation is the best. It's the most predictable for this round. And also that's the critique. That's this is the interpretation that 95% of teams are reading in the debate. Their interpretation will literally destroy the majority of affirmatives and make like only George Mason's ass topical. They prefer interpretation this reason. And they say extra cheaper than when there's nothing for this because we don't claim any advantages of this and we don't ban any areas outside of topical reject restriction of presidential war pass and ability to gain talking comfortable interpretation because it is what the topic area calls for. And they say we're by direction, but there's no way we can manufacture because there's no way they can literally have increased presidential power. And they say this topical version now, but their interpretation is bad because they go on almost all the affirmatives in this area and topical, and they're destroying and destroy education debate because we're never to the heart of topic. They are micropolitan. They say the signature strikes the key, but that's the core of the topic. The resolution calls for restriction target killing. Case.
Also, they didn't answer our counter-interpretational concerns.
Yeah. Also, they didn't answer counter interpretation on signature strikes, or they're specifically back for debate going to case. Well, about who best to stay with militaries and overall that multiple ways in which we are able to solve one discussion, debate, key leadership, and education about current policies none, and two correlation the only sees the space for opposition to the state, the only way to create space is by revealing the history drawn, killing which is created and people can base on the only name impose the state in which they propose the state and the debate is about competing methodology and who best solves militarism on the app. We also think extinction scenarios one of the most make extinction scenarios. They can say that Isaac means you vote affirmative right now, and they say stay bad, but you can group the arguments of what they consider the ones for evidence that says the state is inevitable. You cross-apply the gunning evidence for the capable that says we cannot enact policy change through the state. That means that they're inevitably going to fail with the legislation because they don't act in the specific policy, and that we still need to, we don't defend the state in this instance. We don't have to defend it within every instance we can accept will acceptance that we must have to engage in the state for environmental change. And they say turns case evidence about how just what theory is bad. We are critiquing just what theory, and they say violence is inevitable. It means we can expose violence. It means we're able to solve this, the one AC, and it means the alternative. This also means the alternative can never. So for some for violence, if this is true, and they say just what theory bad. Give a critique of just what theory means.
No, they said just war theory links to the monster and where's the line.
Yeah. They say just what theory they say just what theory links to the monster budget because war exposing the violence that is used just what theory, and then if we prove that solving for the cons of status quo is good means you vote affirmative.
Also, their Rodriguez evidence, us going in and attacking other nations, the affirmative literally reverses that.
Yeah, the affirmative reverses the Rodriguez evidence to prevent us attacking other countries international, and thus we're able to solve for this like global critique. They say debate doesn't leave a room, but obviously we have to room with the vote of the judge deciding whether the plan is a good action if it was going to be passed in the real wood. That means if we prove it's a good reason that we're able to solve extinction standards, means that you vote affirmative, and they say score education is bad, but they literally link to this because they rethink such a topicality, which is calling us to be within status quo education, means they double trend themselves within this. And that status quo education is good because we prove things such as being policymakers means we're able to food and bakery means we know live, we can do things such as become lawyers, and I believe lead to change that can lead to things such as preventing violence within the world. And they with the impact they say we didn't reversibility, but there's no reversibility in this because we expose violence when we started here, they immediately becomes hidden. But there's this general progression that violence is considered hidden now and the status quo leads to a progression where violence is hidden now. It means that they'll never be sold back from the future. So if we can solve this area of extinction means you vote affirmative on that risk alone. They say that we are already dead, but because of things such as just what they lead to everybody being dead and they're being targeted to the United States government. I mean, that's probably worst case scenario. Go to the critique proper. Go to the framework. They say people are real, but if we prove the parents are going to mean to vote negative, they say they're being rolled out at the head because they don't lead to any action. That's organic evidence. You can extend our white evidence on here that says unless you type policy consent, they are relevant to academic space and vote for an education effective framework to take the term to take because the abstract theories includes no concrete solution, and we are able to solve the world out because we ask the judge to be an intellectual permutation debate. they have no specific just as a permutation means we can do permutation, do both. They say there's no reason that the precondition we do both, and is that we are able to expose the hidden bias to be able to solve this. We don't exclude one. We actually open up spaces to talk about violence that defines the different groups that the United States government is targeted killing that week. So back to further permutation of this, because it is a net beneficial case. They have no specific link, and they're also permed out by adequately term is able to overcome for the link level. It's not able to overcome. That means they can inevitably cancel off. And they say they control the and go up. They say we control the root cause. But they consider alternate the cult evidence means that they are there's no root cause. They're only for militarism is obviously why we act violence against the different groups. It's violence against different groups and is manifested with it as a form of militarism. There's no cause claim of witness. They say they consider Rodriguez evidence about this, but they consider the state inevitable. You can cross apply the gunning and white evidence on here. Go to the Baudrillard trends. They conceded also go evidence that Baudrillard is inevitable to fail because he doesn't engage in policy as it is relevant to this world. He said we can never know things about the state, but that's because he doesn't engage within political economy according to drug critique. They say it's not the Baudrillard, but this card is specific because it is not specific to Baudrillard's forms of simulations and everything such as that. And they say violence is inevitable, but this card is talking about how war was specifically bad. The affirmative is able to stop this because we claim a spillover effect to solve other forms of violence as manifested through the militarism cause that they have not contested and say there's 100% risk of solving on that.
What was